So, in a pretty surprise announcement this morning that kind of took me by surprise, Asus, the mod author of the Combat Overhaul, has removed that mod and all of his other mods from mod.io and Nexus. Rather, they are currently hidden, and he is threatening with actually taking them down completely and deleting his mods for Anno 1800 from the community entirely. His reason behind this is that he feels that he is no longer welcome in the modding community due to unfortunately, some drama and some issues that occurred between himself and some other mod authors. Without getting into the whole drama, because I'm not going to be a drama tuber, essentially what happened is a small mod author took a single line of code from the Combat Overhaul and used it to create a small submod of his own. None of the code that was from the Combat Overhaul was technically owned by Asus. However, Asus did ask that people contact him and just ask permission or ask for a citation that he is the one that created the original part of the code and everything else like that. This smaller mod author apparently did not do that and just used the code instead anyways. Now, taking apart larger mods and creating submods is a very standard practice in modding communities across multiple games. For example, I do a lot of modding for Total War Warhammer and Total War Rome, and taking apart the big mods and making submods is very, very common. It's almost just a normal thing people do. In Asus's mind, the bigger mods such as his don't have nearly as much protection as smaller mods when it comes to being frowned upon for being dissected, as it were, and having code and stuff taken out of it. Asus felt like any sort of submod should come from him first instead of from a smaller mod author, because if there was such a demand for a submod, then he should be the one to put it together and release it. Now, this was met with some criticism from the modding community, saying that people can release submods of any kind that they want, and he shouldn't have control over the submods that are made for his Combat Overhaul mod. So Asus decided to release his own submod, which was met with criticism and downvotes on mod.io. In order to counter the downvotes, Asus went to another Discord server and asked people to leave upvotes on the mod and vent his frustrations there. Now, whether you agree with that or not, going to another Discord and having people try to brigade your mod to upvote it to counter all of the downvotes, that's a whole other thing right there, and I'm not going to give my thoughts on that one way or the other. That's just the facts of what happened. His submod was getting downvoted because he released this submod in the middle of all this criticism, got downvoted, and he tried to get other people to upvote it to counter that. So the submod was removed by Blue Byte for voting abuse. So after quite a bit of apparent back and forth and arguments between multiple mod authors, Asus decided just to call it quits and remove all of his mods and leave the modding community. I know many people will be a little upset about that. The Combat Overhaul ships portion had somewhere around like 37,000 downloads. It was one of the top, not the top, but it was one of the larger mods and stuff, mostly because people like having more ships and everything. Now, as far as the overhaul part of the Combat Overhaul, the AI changes and everything else like that, they had less than 10,000 each. They weren't very popular parts of the mod or anything, but the ships and stuff were, and I think it's a little sad that we are losing that part of the mod and everything, because I know people like having more ships in their game. So I know that's going to be a big blow to a lot of people who enjoy that part of Anno 1800 and the Combat Overhaul ships mod. But I just kind of wanted to put that out there and let everyone know what was going on in case you start trying to look for the Combat Overhaul mod. I do have it showcased in my 8 mods that make Anno 1800 much more difficult. So unfortunately, that video is now a little outdated since the Combat Overhaul is no longer there. However, if you are looking for an AI mod that changes the AI and makes them a lot more difficult, which with the Combat Overhaul had a portion that you could do. You could check out SERP's Everyone Hard AI, and there are also multiple other types of warship mods out there on mod.io and Nexus that you can use in the place of the Combat Overhaul. So that is all I have for you guys. Just a little quick update on this that I just saw. It is currently 8:45 a.m. my time, and Asus posted this at 8:24 a.m. So this is brand new information that I just saw, and I wanted to get that out to you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.